All right, so in 6-1, we're talking a lot about perpendicular bisectors, which you've already done before. So there's one section on this note page that you already know how to do, but we can still review it just to make sure. So this first one where it says explore, I want you to take a look at this triangle or this drawing, and they're asking you to find DC, which is right here. And I bet you can probably guess because there's only one number in the picture. So it's not too hard to probably know what the answer might be. But I want to see if you can tell me why it's that answer. So just, I don't know, take 30 seconds and look at this picture and try to answer why is this the number you think it is. Okay, ready? So remember, in geometry, the whole real concept behind geometry is to try to prove what you know so somebody can't come and like argue the opposite way. So you're trying to like nail down that yes, this is 27 because of something, not just because that's the only number we have. So how do I know that these two pieces are going to be equal? Jake, you want to try? Okay, I do agree that this is the hypotenuse, and I do agree this is the leg. The problem, though, is I don't know the hypotenuse is equal. So I agree that this is the leg. I agree that this is 90. But what is this piece in the middle? This is reflexive. So take a look at this triangle. So what do you have, Zach? So basically our triangles are congruent by side angle side. Now, there's another theorem that I didn't put on this paper because you probably will not remember it anyways, which is not a big deal. It's called CPCF. It stands for corresponding parts of congruent figures. And basically what this is telling you is if you can get the triangles equal with your shortcut, so if you can get the triangles equal with 3 parts, then part 4, part 5, and part 6 are also equal. So really, we're using this new property of corresponding parts of congruent figures. But again, we don't have to do proofs. But the more I can review your vocabulary, the better, the more it's going to stick in. I mean, 1, you got the exam, and 2, you have Geometry B coming up. Geometry B is very numerical, but they still use the concepts. I can't tell you how many times I've had a kid, like, I should have just tested out, or I should just skip Geometry A. And then they get into B and they struggle because they don't really understand the vocabulary that's used in geometry as a whole, okay? So you got to know the properties. These theorems, how about let's do the first row, and then if you want me to do the second row, I can. But basically what you have, I'm going to try to draw this picture in this box, okay? So you're given, remember the hypotenuse is, or the hypothesis is the given. So this is like the if. So you're given side angle side. So your conclusion is the triangles are congruent, and so the parts are congruent. Now, that is not how the book has it written. I can pull out the actual book, but I was trying not to go back and forth so much. So I had printed this off prior to today. The internet was down. This is the way the book actually has it drawn and written. So if you want, I mean, you can go through and read all that stuff, but you're never going to have to repeat it or anything like that. What it's going to look like is numbers 1 and 2. So this first theorem goes with examples 1 and 2. Okay? So take a look at 1. Notice I have side angle side, which means this triangle's isosceles, and so got my answer. The homework problems, at least one of the columns, not the whole thing, but one of the columns literally goes that fast. Like you'll blow through 5, 6 questions super fast. Take a look at number 2. Not quite as fast, but we still have side angle side. So we know that this is still isosceles, only, Caleb, how would I do this? Okay, so I set them equal. So then I get 7. That's my answer. Yeah, plug it back in. So just be careful because, again, some of you on the test, you picked the X value in the multiple choice. So just make sure you always pay attention to what they want you to find. Okay, real quick, do you guys feel comfortable with those? Yeah. 3 and 4 are the converse. You know the converse is going to kind of, in a way, switch the boxes. But just take a look at number 3. Do you still have side angle side? Do you? I have this side, which is the hypotenuse, correct? I have the 90, and I have this piece. Is that side angle side? So what property is this? I don't want to use these because that's what I'm trying to find. So almost ignore this. What property do you have here? SSA, we can't use SSA, hypotenuse leg. So this one is hypotenuse leg, which is really SSA. And so then we know that this piece right here is also 9.5. So if you want, again, you can copy all this stuff down from the book, but I feel like you look at this stuff and you're like, I don't really know what that means. So really what they're telling you is now is you're given hypotenuse leg, so the triangles are congruent. Okay? So they're just switching properties on you. Do you feel comfortable on number 4? Yes? We've got hypotenuse, we've got reflexive, we've got 90, so it's still HL, right? If I set these equal, and if I solve this, hold on, is my answer 6? Why not? Oh, so this time they're asking me for the whole piece instead of only half of it. So just make sure you pay attention. What do they want you to find? They want you to find both. So if you plug in, it's 6 on one side, 6 on the other, so then you get your total. I mean, you definitely, in this chapter, the answers are numerical. I don't think they're super hard numbers, but lots of numerical answers in this chapter. How are we feeling so far? Good? Okay, there's kind of 3 parts here. So I would say that's part 1. And then 5 and 6 is part 2. We have already done 5 and 6. This is complete review. But it shows up again, and it's on your test. So I don't want to say, well, you should just know this because I've already taught it to you. So I would prefer to only do one of these 2, 5 or 6. And again, if you want to see both of them, they're loaded into the Google Classroom. Okay? So somebody pick 5 or 6. Okay, I'll tell you this. 5 is not bad, but it does have a 0 in it, so sometimes that's confusing to people. So I don't know if that's good or bad to show you. But 5 has a 0. I believe 6 does not. So
5.
Okay. How many want 5? All right, 6 it is. All right, here we go. In both of them, you have to write an equation for the perpendicular bisector. The only thing that's different is if you look at the ordered pairs, they're just different ordered pairs. So they're essentially the same question. How do I find perpendicular? I can hear it. Morgan? Opposite reciprocal. But I don't remember. Opposite reciprocal, is that like the distance formula? What formula is it? Slope. So if you don't remember the slope formula, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Again, we've already done that numerous times. All right, how do you find a bisector? Okay, so Caden, I wanted to call you Caleb for a minute. Caden said the distance formula. I agree and I disagree. Let me say why. I can easily find how long it is between these 2 points. So let's just say it's 10. Okay, it's 10. Knowing I have 5 and 5, is that going to help me write an equation? No. So I'm not saying the distance is necessarily wrong. It's just not helpful. And some of you keep getting that on your tests. Like you're putting stuff down and I'm right, helpful, question mark, because it's not helping you get to where you're going. So now think about it. If I have a segment and I want to find the middle point, what should I calculate? The midpoint. So you want to calculate the midpoint. Do you remember the midpoint formula? Yeah, you add the x's together, divide by 2. Add the y's together, divide by 2. It doesn't matter which one you do first. You're going to have to do both. So you just got to pick one and start. So Savannah, you want slope or midpoint first? Slope. All right, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Be careful, that one zip zaps. Now you don't have to write this out. Like if you feel like you can calculate this in your head, that's fine. I'm just writing it out to, I guess demonstrate it properly. That's negative 2 over 6, which is negative 1/3. Is that the slope I'm going to want? Anna, what do I have to do? Opposite, so it's positive and reciprocal. So that's the slope that I'm going to use when I write my equation. All right, I'm going to try to squeeze the midpoint down below here so that I have some room over here to write the equation piece. Remember, the midpoint is an ordered pair, so it's like, 4, 3 or something. It's an ordered pair. You want to add your x's together, divide by 2, add your y's together, and divide by 2. And if you do come out with a decimal, it's okay. We're not graphing in this chapter. There's no graphing. So if it comes out, just leave it alone and move on. All right, that's 2 divided by 2 and 4 divided by 2. All right, now, it doesn't tell me what kind of equation, but I will tell you this. On the homework, it asks for point slope and slope intercept. On the test, it asks for slope intercept, and then you get to pick. Well, on the you get to pick, I'm assuming you're probably going to pick point slope because it's easier. But I guess if you want to do slope intercept on both, you could. Okay? So I'd like to show you both just so we remember. I like point slope first. Better. Can I use that one first? Yeah. If this was the y-intercept, I really wouldn't care. But this is not the y-intercept. It's just some point on the graph. So I'm going to use point slope. So point slope first. Y minus the y value is equal to my slope, x minus the x value. Done. That's why I like this one better if you let me pick. Now, if you want slope-intercept, you have to get the y alone. So you just have to solve this for y. You'll want to distribute. And then you just got to move the 2 over. I don't know why, but for some reason, your book, Big Ideas, they love slope-intercept. That's probably why we were in middle school. That's like all you probably ever did in middle school was like slope-intercept constantly. Big Ideas really likes it. I think point slope is obviously a little easier, but just be ready for both of them. Now, if they gave me, let's say the midpoint was 0, 2, and then my slope was 3, and you let me pick, well, then slope-intercept isn't that hard. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty fast. But if this is not a 0, if it's like a 5 or something, then writing it in slope-intercept takes a little bit of work to get this. So it's just not my first choice. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you want me to do 5, at the end or something, I can help you individually. Or like I said, I uploaded these note packets and everything like that earlier. So hopefully, I actually uploaded it yesterday, but I think it was set to turn on today. So if you have checked your email and it says that I posted something today, I actually posted it yesterday. It just didn't open till today. Okay? All right, we got one little last piece left. Help me out here. PQ. Is this still side angle side HL? But that's what we did on the other page, and there's a 90. So what do they give us now? Angle, angle, side. Remember, you don't want AAA. AAA is not going to show they're congruent. So in this one, the triangles are congruent by angle, angle, side. Again, the more we review, hopefully by the time you take that exam, you're going to be so sick of angle, side angle, and HL that when you take the exam, it'll just be like nothing and just blow right through them, okay? These 2 boxes, again, if you want me to, I can show you the page, but I believe this one is numbers 8 and 9. So notice how they give you the angles congruent. So in my mind, this is angles are congruent. Notice on number 10, they don't give you the angles are congruent, right? Okay, so let's quick do 8. Angle, angle, side? Yes? Angle, angle, side?
Yeah.
So this is 5? I'm done? It's literally that easy. Number 9? How about Keegan? Just how do I start number 9?
3x plus 1 equals 5x.
Correct. And honestly, class, even if you're not 100% sure the property, there's only 2 pieces in the picture. You can pretty much almost set them equal to each other and guess. And then if you solve them, ooh, is that 1? It's pretty small. Then you just got to plug it back in. Doesn't really matter which side you plug it back into because they're equal, but you just plug it back in and you're done. All right, this last one. Is this angle, angle, side? What property is this one? Yeah, it's hypotenuse, which is right here, reflexive. That's the hypotenuse. Leg, 90. It's technically the swear word. It's ASS. But we use the HL. Now be very careful. I can't tell you how many people will tell me that the answer is 20. Then you're going to be mad when I mark you down. They're asking you for CAB. CAB is both of them together. Some of you are struggling a little bit with the letter piece, okay? So yes, Kylie, it was 40. So